event that the three of us decided to do some more stuff together because we had a lot of fun. So this is a little sample of our work together and us sort of experimenting with working together for an upcoming little retreat that we're going to be offering in the first weekend of March. So this is an experiment. What we're going to do today is we are going to lead you in a Dragon Fire Alchemy meditation and journey, alchemizing blocks to your sovereignty. So transmuting blocks to sovereignty, whatever that might mean to you. And what we're going to do is we organize this in the same way as the retreat. So Galactic Ashley is going to be going first, and she's going to bring us into the meditation. Hannah is going to take the meat of the center of it, and then she's going to pass the baton to me. So this is going to be a really fun experiment, and we're going to see what happens. And afterwards, stay tuned afterwards, because we're going to have a gallery question and answer, but also personal readings. So we're going to do a little personal readings just so you can see our style and see if you jive with us. And again, just for our fun and pleasure as well, to experiment with this as well. So I will introduce myself, and then I'll pass the baton to these other beautiful, amazing ladies. My name is Zara Starchild. That is not my birth name. But it is a partially given name by a spiritual teacher that feels very resonant with me. And Starchild is something that I chose to sort of just put my frequency into, to attract those people that are also feeling like aliens on this planet, starseeds on this planet. So yes, March 8th through 10th, Ashley put on there is when our retreat is. And so I live in upstate New York. I just bought a beautiful little cabin in the Adirondacks on a lake. And it was a manifestation of a dream that I had had for decades. And the manifestation of this dream into reality has really broken through a lot of my limiting beliefs, and a lot of it sort of expanded my consciousness in regards to the nature of reality, how I manifested this, how it came about, and all of the grace that followed into the renovation and completion of this cabin. So it's been this big, huge, pivotal materialization of a dream that had been very important for me for a very long time. So that's where I'm at in my life right now. I'm coming back into the online scene. Because now I have manifested everything that I wanted with my life, and I'm yeah, and I'm here to be of some greater service and help you guys do the same thing. So let me pass the baton to Hannah, and she can introduce herself and tell you a little bit about her.
Sure thing. Yeah, so I'm Hannah Azok. That's how you pronounce my name. I am a dragon nerd and a golden dragon soul. And I just kind of stumbled into this whole spiritual teacher thing, just kind of randomly following my intuition to post tarot videos on TikTok. And now 3 years later, here I am. But yeah, I'm total dragon nerd. I've always really been into dragons, but I didn't really realize that they were real. I would say I didn't accept that until maybe like the past 5 years or so. And I started to realize, I guess in short, that everything I thought was like imaginary, everything I thought I was just creating was actually like stuff I was channeling and like receiving and downloading in a sense. I was also creating it. But we're not going to talk about that. That's a little more complicated. But basically, yeah, I'm Hannah. I like to move all over the world. I'm a grid worker. So I've lived in the US, I've lived in Japan, I've lived in Australia. Now I'm living in Berlin, Germany. And I just kind of follow where the winds take me. I follow my intuition and kind of see where I end up. And right now, I'm just creating a new life for myself here in Berlin, Germany. I've had the opportunities already to do like live workshops here about dragons and stuff like that. So it's super cool. And if you didn't know me already, I like to help people own their powers and step into the driver's seat of their own lives to really kind of attune to the frequency of their own sovereignty. So that's what I do. I'm here for it. Thank you, Zara, for hosting this again, and I'll pass it on to Galactic Ashley.
Hi, I'm really excited to be here. And I'm looking forward to this 3-day event that we have coming up. I think it's March 8th, 9th, and 10th. It should be really powerful. I have no doubt. It's interesting how we've all come together. We're kind of like holding these pieces of a multi-dimensional triangle, to say the least, kind of creating sort of a template. And a lot of what I'm here to do is I also am a dragon, and I work with these frequencies. It's called the Dragon Consciousness. I'm really here to work with what's been going on with me personally recently is I'm going through a purification process of having intimacy with the death and the death consciousness. So that involves a lot of really going very, very deep into my own subconscious energy to remove frequencies of, I will say, like self-hate or the desire to die, because I can't clearly work with the death consciousness when those energies of interference are there. And so part of something that I ceremonialized into being about 3 or 4 years ago was, please remove everything in my life that is preventing me from intimacy with the divine. And a lot of things happened after that. And it's sort of, in a lot of ways, I don't want to say initiation after initiation, but I also believe that my life is an initiation after initiation, and that's okay. And the dragons constantly come in and ask me if I want to continue. And the answer is always yes, because that's what I'm here for. And so I think sometimes we can experience these things in our subconscious that are creating interference in our ability to manifest and co-create with the divine. And some of those might be like, oh, there's self-hate here because hate was actually projected upon me by someone else, and then I took that in unknowingly. And so these are it makes it easier to work with the death consciousness and sort of death energies, because when we create, something needs to die. So a phrase I like is what if there's something that I need or I'm desiring to co-create, what needs to die in order for me to have this? And it's not something that when I say this, it's not something that we're killing. We're not aggressively going at it. But there's also been a lot of energies of grief that have been coming up. So I feel like grief and love are existing kind of in the same threshold, or sort of same doorway. So that's what's been going on kind of with me recently. And also I'm here to really activate and sort of, there's this sort of co-creation that is happening within my human body and the dragon consciousness. So there's like an actual like collaboration. So, okay. All right. Sorry, that wasn't for me. I'm like, oh no. So one thing that I do also have that's coming up, I think that we all have like some other things that are coming up. So when you resonate with one of us or all of us, I mean, I hope you come in March. I also have a light language course that's coming up. We actually start next week. So if any of you are experiencing light language activations or have something coming through you and you don't necessarily know what it is, or you want to connect with your dragon song, or you want to be in a group of people where you can kind of explore or deepen this, then I encourage you to find me. And I know that Hannah's doing an amazing thing with her manifestation workshops, and Zara also has something that's starting in March too. That's really great. So we are really coming here to just share our gifts with all of you and to lead a kind of like a transmission that we know what's happening, but we don't actually know what's going to happen. So we're glad that you're here for the ride. And I hope that all of you sort of stick around after the transmission, because that's really going to be the fun part, to do gallery style readings with all of you. And even if you don't get your question responded to, I know that I always sort of read this way, that everything that we're saying and offering is also designed to apply to everyone that's here, that's listening. So these are like my favorite things to do. So I actually love doing all of this.
I agree with that. It's everything's connected. So yeah, like if you're here and you're seeing someone else's reading, it's also for you.
Yeah, there's pieces in it for you. Awesome. So beautiful people, we had a question in regards to where do we register for the event, and what we've done for the event. Let me just share what's going to happen. So for today, this is sort of an experimental thing, but for the retreat that we're putting together, or retreat / intensive, whatever you want to call it, it's going to be called the Goddess Dragon Trinity. And so each one of us is going to be bringing forth transmissions from a goddess and a dragon for transformation and for a particular theme. So we're going to do this next bit today in order of our intensive. So Galactic Ashley is going first, and the theme for her day is with the goddess Tiamat and the death dragon. So what is it that needs to die in order to be reborn, to be liberated, right? And to bring in the empowerment that we're asking for. And then the next day, Hannah is going to be bringing forth Kuan Yin and the goddesses of love, which is already, as I just speak into that, it's just got this amazingly beautiful energy to it. And then the third and final day is I'm bringing forth the goddess Lakshmi and the golden dragons of wealth. And this whole thing happened today and this retreat because immediately after that dragon summit, I got this huge golden dragon started wrapping itself around me and sort of speaking to me and inspiring me to share it with you and to get these guys involved, because I really dug their energy, and I think we make a great team. we haven't done anything yet, but I can sense that we make a great team. So
Triple
that's what
goddess threat.
Yeah, triple goddesses, triple priestesses, triple dragons, and that's March 8th. Now, we are each going to have our own page for the event, but any page that you sign up for will get you all 3 days. And on the 4th day, we'll have a questions and answers, integration, closing ceremony, and all of that. But I'm just going to put, this is the link to join through my page. Anybody joining through my page today will be getting everybody's package. So go ahead and sign up when you can. We'll be posting this link throughout this today. So don't worry about it if you don't catch it right now. So that's it. And was there anything else we wanted to share? Or are we good to go, guys?
I guess there's nothing really that I wanted to share, but I'm just curious in the chat, like, and maybe also with you guys, Zara and Ashley, like, who's been feeling maybe a bit heavier lately? Maybe give us some ones in the chat if you've been feeling heavy lately, or like more tired, or you've had like illnesses or aches and pains coming up, or you've been feeling more triggered, because this is just something I've recognized within my own life and many of my friends and clients and stuff in the past week or so. And it's a vibe right now. So yeah, it looks like a lot of people are feeling that. Yeah. How about you, Zara?
I had a great day on Monday. I was like really high and everything was like coming together, and I was on like I was actually working until 3:00 in the morning on Monday, and then Tuesday I just got hit and kind of floored. So my energy is really low as of yesterday, and there's some sort of cold going on. Yeah. So that's a collective you're seeing, Hannah.
Yeah, it's definitely, we're gearing up for the next wave of our ascension journey. And so we're purging everything that's not really a match to these higher frequencies that we're about to step into and embody. So if you are feeling these things right now, know that it is totally okay. Just be kind to yourself, I would say, and try to get as much rest as possible, not to be angry at other people if they're pissing you off, if they're triggering you. Just hold this frequency of love and compassion for yourself and for others as we move through this collectively together, and know that you've come to the right place. Because with this Dragon's Fire Alchemy today, I think what we're going to do is we're going to work with Dragon's Fire, which is very alchemical, and it can transmute that heavy energy into high frequency energy. So you can offer these things up to the Dragon's Fire today to be transmuted, which will make space for you to kind of step into the highest version of yourself. And hopefully you'll be able to, join us for the event in March, where I think today we're basically, it's like a prequel where we're going to be like making space. And then in March, we'll have the thing where we're embodying death, and then like love and rebirth, and then wealth, which is kind of the physical manifestation, I think, of doing that inner work. So
yeah, and the wealth too, like, so I was sort of meditating on this the other day, and it's like it's almost like the threefold flame, like the death and the transformation and the wealth energy. The golden energy is also part of that threefold flame of creation. And that's what we're like when we're trying to create wealth for ourselves. We're moving into the creation energy. And if you look at it too, I'm just like, as I'm speaking, it's also like maiden, mother, crone energy, that what we're putting together, but we're going in the opposite direction. We're doing the crone, the mother, and then the maiden. So the maiden, the child, is the golden creation kind of energy. Head pressure today. Yeah. There was somebody that put a chat here, and let me just find it again. This one, the Witchy Homestead. We're working on different planes and dimensions simultaneously as when we're awake. I think it's catching up to us all. And I will say to this comment that I have had the absolute weirdest, strangest dreams over the last 2 days. And this morning I woke up. The dream was so vivid and so multidimensional and so depth that I woke up feeling like it wasn't a dream, that I had like sort of transported into some weird alternate parallel reality with my consciousness. It was that sort of elaborate, and I'm kind of spinning actually from it today because it was so intense. So thanks for that comment.
Yeah, it's definitely trippy, like what's been happening recently, the theme of living parallel lives, like while we're sleeping, while we're in our dreams. I had this experience last night, and I keep having it again too, where it's really trippy shit. We're really stepping into our multidimensional selves. That's really all I can say on that.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah.
So you had it last night too, one of those?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We keep having it every night for like a year now, I would say.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. We've got a lot of comments. People are digging here. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to add, so I don't know if we've said this yet, but do either of you want to talk about what Dragon's Fire is? Since that's the title of our event.
I think that's great. Did you want to say something about it first, Ashley, and then maybe we could all say what it means to us or how we work with it?
Yeah, sure. For me personally, it's something that I feel like is running through my veins, and I feel like it's actually recently been sort of reactivated in a different way, and it's also caused me personally. So I'm saying this me personally because the intention is that nobody experiences physical pain today. And just to be clear, because while we're working in these powerful energies, part of I'm going to say our intention, but it's our intention, my intention, and since I'm leading this in the beginning, since I'm going first. The intention that I have in all of my sessions and whenever I'm doing work, because I recognize that dragons are extremely powerful energy, is that your higher selves are really going to be mediating what you are capable of bringing in and taking in. So what's embedded in every sort of transmission that I do is that everything gets titrated into your system accordingly, that we are not looking for what do you call a health crisis, but that's not the term. So that your body doesn't. Yes, thank you. I was like, that's not right. That nobody goes into a healing crisis, so that we can still, for those of you that might have to go to work later today or work tomorrow or have children, that you can still function in your day to day. I love the term modern mystic that Carolyn Mace sort of coined, because I think that's the challenge of sort of being alive at this time, is that we all can't go out to someplace in the wilderness and live there free from society. We're actually being asked to integrate into our physical structures, to integrate into society, and to live a modern life while we're also being these high vibrational beings. So I just sort of want to make that part clear. So while I'm talking about what Dragon's Fire means to me personally, it means that as it's been reactivating and activating in my physical body, it has to push through parts of my body that have been pretty severely traumatized. And so because I'm releasing these massive trauma patterns in my body, this dragon's fire is moving through it, and it's causing sort of a lot of pain, but it's also a massive healing gift that I can use. And so I feel that we're going to bring this in today so that you can sort of play with it, access it, or maybe activate it into your own being, and however that aligns with you and your soul's blueprint, your divine blueprint. So for me, it literally feels, it is, I consider like the dragons, or the dragon that I am, the dragons that I work with, it's a direct connection to source. And it's sort of a frequency and a flame, a breath. Like if source had a breath, it would be the dragon fire, or the dragon breath. And so being able to embody that and having that sort of being able to emanate through my heart, that means I have a lot of work to be able to do that, and to have my body be able to like have that living in its veins. So it's not even something that I go out to access or have to grab from somewhere else. I'm wanting it to be my higher self, and myself are wanting it to like be in the body, so it's accessible, so that it becomes something that's just like fire that comes through my body, that is a healing energy and frequency that can help others.
Beautifully put. Yeah.
Definitely
feel that vibe. I think you said it eloquently. I guess also to build on that, I would say it's all the things that you said. And also for me specifically, it comes up as this alchemical frequency. So it can be really heavy, right? Like being a human in this physical 3D reality, especially if you do identify as like a dragon soul, as a starseed, as someone that's not from here, right? It can be so heavy and frustrating at times. And so I like Dragon's Fire because I feel like it is our connection to source, or our dragon energy, that allows us to instantly transmute that heavy energy into higher frequency energy. It's kind of like our superpower in that way. And I mean, Dragon's Fire, because of the programming of the false matrix, it can get a bad rap as just being like this fire that is so destructive and it's bad and it's scary. But really, it's helpful. It's basically, it burns away that which is no longer serving you, that which is no longer a match to your frequency, so that you can step more into the you that is a match to this higher frequency. And that's just kind of how it appears for me. I think it's also, to kind of ground an analogy, it's like when you're working out, right? And you feel like after doing a lot of reps or something, a lot of cardio, you feel like hot all in your body, in your veins. Like that to me is Dragon's Fire. Like it comes through your body, it transmutes, you know, that old tissue, that old energy, it burns it away, and it makes space for like the new, stronger tissue to come in. So that is how I experience Dragon's Fire. And I would say I don't think I need to tell anyone here that when you work with the dragons, it can be really intense, like Ashley was saying. So I really appreciate, Ashley, that you're setting that intention for all of us to have it kind of mediated, that we're not going to go into any healing crises. Because I feel like a lot of us already are in healing crises. Like right now, this is the ascension energy, I think, for the next few weeks. A lot of this stuff has already come up. We don't need to make it worse. I'm also going to set the intention that we get actually some relief and we get to experience more like of the gentle, peaceful nature of Dragon's Fire. Because I also, just now it's coming in, it's kind of, it reminds me of being in like the womb or something sometimes. If you just kind of like soak in the Dragon's Fire, you just kind of exist within the Dragon's Fire, let it wash over you. It can be kind of this loving, protective, nourishing sort of energy as well.
Yeah. And particularly because this is a live event and we're holding a container through the duration of this, but we're not doing follow-up, like holding space after for everyone. So you can go ahead and set the intention, like in the space. We'll create some space for you to kind of like bring in an intention for you today. But somebody asked if they were going to have, or for activating the dragon's breath of the dragon's fire. I would say that we're bringing in the dragon's fire, and if that ends up activating you because today is the day that you and yourself have designed it to be activated, then then let it be. But I don't our specific intention, I think, is more about sovereignty and reclamation of maybe parts of us that we're needing to sort of onboard again. More than activating that specific thing. For me, that feels like, I don't know, and this is just me, and maybe I'm overly sensitive to working with dragons and have seen the fallout, that I like to have containers that are longer. So if I were to do that with somebody, I would make sure that we were like in a multi-week, month thing to make sure that that gets in and lands and stays. So yeah. Zara, you're muted.
So there's a couple comments in here. Do you guys want to answer a couple questions before we get started?
Sure, why not?
Okay, so we're going to ask you guys not to ask any more questions, but we'll just get to these. And any other questions that you have, you can wait till the end. But just so that these don't get lost, I'd like to just are you guys aware of somatic shaking that can be triggered with working with? Yeah. So I'm going to say this. I'm just going to be really transparent with everybody that the dragons have been sort of with me and around me and communicating with me, but I don't have a lot of experience working with them. Just they've been in my awareness and they're making themselves available for me. That I up until now, I haven't been really pulsed to work heavily with them. I've been working with goddesses for a really long time and different ascension frequencies. So I'm going to leave Hannah and Ashley to talk about the dragons for the most part.
So, but hold on, because Zara, you work a lot with the star beings, and I'm sure you've experienced shaking, somatic shaking in downloads and other things. Do you want to talk about that? Like, because it's still a somatic shaking.
Yeah, no, I honestly, I haven't gone into like real somatic shaking, I have to say. Like what happens for me is I burp. Like I get burp and burp and burp, like almost to the point where I'm puking sometimes when it's really intense. And if I'm in meditations that are doing real big energy stuff, I will need to get up and move my body, but I haven't had sort of like involuntary somatic shaking. That hasn't been my experience as of yet.
Okay. And also, I actually thank you for your transparency with the dragon stuff. I think that's really important. I don't feel that everybody is here, and this isn't about, oh, I'm way cooler because I came here to like basically like ride this very fine line between like, I'm not going to sprout wings and start breathing fire, but I'm still going to hold this form. It doesn't make me better than everyone else. There's people that identify with as being a dragon rider. So that means that they have past lifetimes where they weren't necessarily a dragon, but they had a very intimate relationship with dragons. And then there's people that channel dragons, or that the dragons are coming around because there are dragons and there are goddesses that come together. So if you're like, well, I don't know, and you don't have to push yourself into experiencing pain, and being a dragon and pain don't necessarily go together. That's just my experience. And I've been working with dragons since I was born. Like there isn't a separation between me and my dragon self. There have been, but I'm not going to get into all of this right now, but if you come to the event, we'll definitely talk about this a lot more. But I just want to make some like clarifications, right? Like this is just about how do dragons work with you, and we're still going to bring in dragon fire and dragon flame energy that you can all connect with. You don't necessarily have to breathe it out your body, but it's still going to be really powerful for you. So your relationship with the dragons and how you experience them is really ultimately all that matters.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well put. Yeah, definitely. I would say everyone's relationship with the dragons is different, but if you're here today, like definitely the dragons are already with you, whether you're conscious of it or not. And yeah, maybe some people will start breathing their own dragon's fire as a result of this, but it's not a requirement. You'll just kind of see what happens, what you're called to experience today, and you can trust that whatever your intuition guides you to. And I guess to answer the question, I would say, like Zara, actually, like I don't really experience much shaking. I have like a few times, but more so it is like I feel energy moving through me in other ways. So I will feel like I'll get really, really hot, for example. And an example of this is like when I got my Reiki attunement, I only got Reiki level 1 attuned. And when I did this attunement, I had to like stop because all of a sudden I was just so overwhelmed with such heat. I almost blacked out, and like everyone noticed, and I had to like lay down. They had to get me water. It was like this whole scene and things because the dragon's fire that came through for me particularly was just so intense. It almost like burned up my body, like will you say. So that was probably the most like somatically intense experience I had when like channeling energy healing and channeling the dragons. But generally for me, it is very subtle. And I usually like to just have like a crystal with me, for example, and I like squeeze like the crystals while I'm doing like energy healing, energetic work to kind of channel any excess energy. And like Zara, I would say also like burping is so common for me. Like when I'm moving energy, it just happens naturally.
Yeah. And so I encourage people. I definitely tend to draw in a lot of people that are going through pretty somatic experiences with energies. So I've had friends and people that I've sat around that were just getting massive downloads from their star families, and just full on were just like they almost black out, and they just like all this stuff goes on with their body. I don't think they're experiencing that anymore. So this isn't always just dragon related. A lot of times when our, I like to call them stations of identity, or our multidimensional parts of ourselves are bringing in information, our physical structure has to be able to sort of embody that. Otherwise, to me, knowledge is knowledge, information is information, which is lovely. But until we can actually embody it, get it into our bodies and integrate that, then we don't really have access to the wisdom part of it, so that they become emanations that sort of continually emanate out of our field. So to me, the shaking can be a part of purging, which can look like yawning, which can look like crying, which can look like throwing up. It can look like burping. It can look like sweating. So I encourage all of you, these bodily sort of experiences that we have, like really getting really curious about them. And, paying attention to what feels like yours and what feels like maybe more collective, and all of these things. Absolutely. If anybody is experienced with different plant medicines, then you've probably noticed, particularly with like ayahuasca and things like that, all of these types of purging things happen, and that's in a different space. But those same purging experiences can obviously, of course, happen outside and in any sort of altered state of consciousness, because a psychedelic experience to me can mean a contact experience with galactic family, can mean through breath work. Like we have all of these ways in which we can enter into these altered states of consciousness, and our bodies, to me, the words that have been coming through, particularly through the Emerald Dragon lines, are that this is a year for radical embodiment. And I think that the more that we take care of ourselves and the more that we rest and the more that we sort of allow and pay attention and allow ourselves to remove these incoherent patterns that exist and the ways in which we're still connected to the false matrix, I feel like this is a year that we can really, really, I hate to say like upgrade as if our body isn't good enough, but in all reality, the one thing that has never, ever abandoned us in this lifetime is our body. And so to me, we're here to move into higher frequencies and higher vibration, into the new earth, into 5D living with these bodies, and that we're dropping density in the body. And so to me, that's the shaking, that's the burping, that's the moving the energy, that's the finding the inconsistencies in our physical structure so that we can actually like transmute this bioform so that it comes with us. And at some point later, I have no doubt that there will be an option of, once we have the body collective, once humanity sort of collectively goes through a light accretion that's at a certain level, then once we are in that space, there will eventually be a point where you're like, hey, do you want to have this sort of this lighter version of your body, or do you want to do something else, or like, I don't know, return back into a mermaid form, like whatever it is. But that's not happening like anytime soon until we really do the work to really integrate with this body. So yeah. Okay.
Well,
So here's something that I wanted to share because Hannah just reminded me in regards to her crystal. If you guys are experiencing intense energy, this is something that I work with the Awakening and Light Body students. There's a chakra, an opening at the back of your head or neck, and you can just imagine that there's a window back there. And when the energies get really intense, like when you become overheated, or you feel the somatic shaking coming on, or the burping coming on, there's an opportunity to imagine a window at the back of the head and neck, and opening that window to allow the excess energy out is a really easy technique to just release excess energies that your body might not be used to.
thank you.
There was something that I also wanted to share, and I think that one of you guys were talking about dragon riders, and what I'm having an experience of, or an awareness of, is that our consciousness, or the consciousness of our soul and our spirit, actually has our spirit. I'm not going to say our soul, but our spirit, our big spirit, the oversoul spirit, actually exists in several different bodies. And some of it's called the monad, this big collective of all the different personalities, bodies that our soul or our spirit has connection to. And so some of us have connection to dragon bodies. Some of you have mentioned something like it feels like that the dragon wants to be in your body. It may just be that you're tuning into a dragon body of your soul lineage that exists. And it's not about getting the body inside of your body. It's more about expanding your consciousness into the dragon body, and merging consciousness with the dragon body, and receiving the gifts of that dragon body, and sharing your human gifts and your human experience. Do either of you want to speak on that at all?
I feel like, yeah, what you said encompassed it. It's like we're just stepping in on this ascension path. We're stepping more and more into this multi-dimensionality. And it's really hard for us to like wrap our brains around it right now, because we're so used to the third dimension of duality reality, where it's like, it's this or it's this. But in multi-dimensionality, it's this and it's this, and it's so much more. It's so much more than we have been taught that is possible. So it's like, yeah, we really are all living these like parallel lives as all these different beings and all these different bodies like simultaneously. And I love how you said, yeah, it's more about just, it's kind of pulling our awareness up like and out to get the higher perspective rather than like becoming a dragon or anything. It's just pulling your awareness up enough, getting the higher picture enough so that you can see, oh, hey, I'm already a dragon. Like over here, I've got a life as a dragon. And over here, I've got a life as a dragon. And I'm a mermaid over here. And I'm an alien over here. And I got a life in the Middle Ages over here. And a life in the future over here on Earth. So it's like you've got all these lives and they're all happening simultaneously because time is an illusion. It's a structure of this false matrix. So I think that's what we're going to be stepping into like more and more. And that's part of the ascension process. And it's what's fun is it's kind of like reclaiming all these other identities that we have and kind of like bringing them all together and integrating them.
And the wisdom and the gifts that they hold.
Totally.
Yeah. There's some really amazing movies out there and shows out there, guys, that dramatize. It's drama. It's TV Hollywood drama, but it dramatizes this multidimensionality and our greater gifts. And one of them is it's called Sense8. I'll put it in the chat. Sense8.
I don't know about this.
Yeah, I do, but I just like there's so many good shows. I just am so rated PG. I can't handle it, but it is a good one. I usually watch one episode of that and like the AO one or OA.
The OA and the second season of the OA really, really does it. But Sense8 is about all of these people sort of awakening to being telepathically connected on the earth plane, and in their telepathic connection they can also share their gifts in their bodies. So Hollywood drama, one of them's like a mobster burglar, one of them's a gay actor, one of them's they have all these different gifts. One of them's like a scientist and a tech person. So when they need to break into somebody, they call the Russian mobster in and he does the job, or whatever it is that they need, they can call on each other's gifts that embody through them here. So it's a really cool, fun show, but it's a dramatization of what I believe is the future of our consciousness. And the OA is another one which, I just read Burb's comment there. Nice one. Yeah. So the OA is another one where she and a group of people discover how to trip into parallel lives, into their bodies that are existing in parallel realities. So that's a lot of fun. And that's in season 2. Season 1 is amazing and awesome, but season 2 you really get into it. So those are some fun things to look at in your evenings. But I think we should get going because we've been talking for like 47 minutes.
Okay.
Thanks everybody for joining. And what we're going to say, I just want to say that if you're not planning on staying, it's probably going to be a good 45 minutes this bit, give or take. So if you're not able to be in a place where you can really absorb and honor the ceremony of this journey, it may be best if you sort of tune out and then come back in 45 minutes or so, just to sort of respect the energetic space of the ceremony, so you're not just getting bits while you're trying to do other things. So how does that sound? Ashley, good?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm also going to be using a few instruments, and so I'm going to try and pay attention. I don't know how. I know in Zoom I can change some settings, but we're not going to do that in here because it creates an echo, I think, with everyone else. So hopefully the bowl and the drum and stuff don't overpower my voice. So I'm going to try and just do them a little separate, if that makes sense.
Cool. So I'm going to leave you with Ashley, and I'm going to tune out. We're just sort of...
Okay. Just kidding. All right. All right. So don't be totally afraid. I know I respect what Zara just said, and I think that that's important. But if you are washing dishes and you still want to kind of be in the vibration, I think that it's okay. But if you're really not paying attention, then I think that if you come back later. So ideally, and especially because Hannah has her hypno magic, that's gonna happen too. And so a couple of things can happen. I call it sort of clicking out. So it's beneficial if in this moment you can get yourself comfortable. You might even want to lay down. If you have a particular meditative practice and you're like, I like to sit up, then go ahead and do that. When I do these, I personally like to get real cozy and cocooned up and kind of lay there. I like to just lay like this. I don't know, my death pose, or however I feel like being guided. And I like to lay down and really, really go deep with this. So that is the opportunity that you have. And if you're in here and you're like, I'm not getting it, and I keep going in and out, that's okay. Just be really kind to yourself. If you happen to it's not even falling asleep. I call it clicking out. You just completely go out. Don't worry, because you're getting a really massive amount of healing that's happening, and you don't necessarily need to be awake for it. This is being recorded. You can always come back and listen to it. So just remember that whatever is happening right now, it's not the end of the world. You can always go back and listen to it. And however you receive today, is how you receive. So go ahead and get cozy, have a little sip of water, run off to the restroom if you need to. I'm going to have a sip of water and then come back and get comfy. Yeah. And sometimes it's just the energy. This happens in my courses. I had a couple of members or students that were in it, and they were like, I had to do 13 sessions with you in class before I was able to stay awake. So it's not a judgment thing. It's a beautiful kind of like trance energy that you're going into and being like really protected. All right. Okay. And I tend to cough a lot in the beginning because we're just sort of integrating and being with the energy. And I also burp too because I'm moving the kind of the collective energy that's in the space. All right. But we don't always need to hear it. All right. So let's take a deep breath in. And with every breath that you take, we find ourselves being drawn into the center of the new earth, the earth that always was, is, and will be, the earth that we know her to be. And as we do this, we find the frequency of the dragon consciousness, this consciousness that exists beyond the threshold of creation, as they come in collectively with the new earth energies to create a space of safety and unconditional love and support. We're calling in the ultraviolet dragon beings to draw a flaming circle of light around us. And as they do this, they are calling in your highest vibrational selves, your soul's guidance system, your dragon guardians, your dragon essence, those frequencies that are here to help you with this alchemical process of interacting with and drawing in some of the energy from the dragon's fire, knowing that this is a safe place, and only that can be with the fire energy, that is the lights, can move through the fire itself. So as we are in this space and you can feel the dragons that were part of your dragon riding connection or your dragon self, or maybe you are connected to the dragons through the various goddesses, or maybe you're simply here and you are curious, go ahead and allow these energies to maybe come closer to you as you begin to feel the heat and the fire of the flame of the lights. And as you find yourself, remember that when you call in your cosmic octave, these are your home frequencies, that they are connected to your bones of light, that your skeletal system is just like this crystal bowl, and that each one of your bones emits a very particular frequency that is unique to you. As you are feeling the flame go through your bones, connect to the bones, and to emit your cosmic octave so that you can, in essence, experience your true self that comes with you, to invite in your home frequency that moves through your bones. We invite in the frequency, the original source codes of Earth to support us from our feet, from the Earth star, to bring in this beautiful support so that you can call in your divine blueprints. And you can imagine that your divine blueprint connects with the original source codes of Earth as source originally intended, so that you can realign yourself with this truth of who and what you are. And we ask for you, as you are in this space of connection and in this potent energy, what is your intention? What is it that you seek healing with? What is it that you are desiring in this moment? Where is there a problem? Or that you perceive that there is a problem? Or that where you perceive in your life that something is happening to you rather than happening for you? What curriculum is being shown to you that you might move through it? And you can just invite in this intention. Maybe you don't have the language for it, but you might have the feeling of it. Maybe something rises up in your body. It doesn't have to be complicated. And as we invite the flames of the dragon fire, we can find ourselves gathering around this beautiful dragon's fire. It is as if the breath of the dragon has risen up from the core of the earth and has brought up this beautiful flame for us to interact with. If you feel that you might want to breathe in some of the flame, you might feel that you just want to interact with it, or just allow it to start heating up your blood, start heating up your energy body, and start heating up your system. Again, we are reminding all of the beings that are present that we are not here for a healing crisis, and that all of the energies titrate in a way that is feasible and that can be handled with that the physical structure is very much in charge, and the wisdom of the body we are asking to be very present so that it takes in exactly what it needs to. And in this process, we are inviting in your ancestors, the ancient ones. We We are inviting in the cosmic serpents and those energies that understand what it means to know the divine frequency that exists on the face of this earth. Because before the serpents got their wings, they are directly connected to the dragon consciousness, to the dragon frequencies. These energies exist within your own DNA. They wrap around your spinal column, your core essence, your core, your channel that is in the core of you. And your ancestors are here all behind you as if they are serpentining out behind your heart space. They are showing up for you and showing up with you. These are the ascended ones, the ones that are healed. And we are asking for the ancestors that are within your own system, within your own body, that need healing, that are ready to cross into the fire themselves. We ask for the dragon illuminaries to open a light gateway in the center of this dragon's breath, so that they may cross and that they may enter, and that you are here to feel this, so that you can eliminate, so that you can release soul patterns that are ancestral, that are held in the ancestors, so that you can release grief that you are grieving from the ancestors. And as we watch and support them as they move courageously into these light frequencies, and then we ask for the purification process to blow gently over our bodies as we are here in a community together. And to feel the unconditional love from all of the ancestors that understand. Because we understand what it is that you are moving through. We understand what it means to hold the key codes in the DNA. That are here to open up higher vibrational qualities of Earth, to open up the star gates to the new Earth, to do grid work through the physical body. You can offer the parts of you that feel shame, the parts of you that feel grief. Whether you can identify them or not, you can offer them into the bright flame, the fires, the dragon's fire, the breath of source as it moves through this space, gently purifying. And again, feel the power of the ancestors at your back, supporting you through this process. The courage of embodiment, for you are needed. Mundi we maya yahu hum boy hum For those of you that know that you are holding key codes in your systems, for those of you that are here to reclaim sovereignty of your body because you come from indigenous bloodlines, from nations, from First Nations, we invite you to step forward knowing that we are all here supporting you, that your ancestors are here supporting you. As you step forward and get closer to the fire so that you can offer these light codes that are embedded between you and your ancestors that are here to reclaim the body. And as you reclaim the body, you are reclaiming land rights because there is no separation between the homeland of your body and the homeland of your ancestors' land that have been taken over. And that we leave just a moment of space for this so that you can reclaim your body's presence, your body's love, and your body's sovereignty, knowing that you are being supported by the ancient future, and that you are already an ancestor, and that your ancestors are also here. And to feel the beauty of that opening and the beauty of your physical body, and to let some of these traumas go the amount that you are capable of, even if it only feels like one drop of blood. And to feel the unconditional love as it moves through you. As we ask for the beautiful voice of Hannah to step forward into this space, into the fire, into the breath.
So in the center of this circle, you can take in now, for a moment, the silence, the stillness, taking a moment to be present in your body, to be present in the present, to be here now. And as you bring this awareness to the present moment and to your body, you can allow your gaze to go to the dragon's fire in the center of this circle we have all collectively created. And you can allow this dragon's fire in the center of the circle to show you a vision right now. A vision of you as your most sovereign self. A vision of you as your most multi-dimensional self. And as you gaze at the fire and you watch this vision unfold, you feel instantly these multi-dimensional aspects of you returning home into your body. You feel the activation of your light codes. You feel your DNA being repaired and reawakened. You feel yourself becoming who you were always meant to be. So I will leave you for a moment in silence and in stillness to really observe whatever the dragon's fire in the center wishes to show you now. And I encourage you, as you observe, to allow yourself to feel what it feels like to be sovereign, to be free, to be abundant, to be love, to be power. Know that as you watch this dragon's fire, as you observe this vision playing out, that this is already so. This reality is happening now, here, right in the present moment. Now, the dragons invite you to undergo the transmutation process that will allow you to manifest this particular reality, to align with this particular timeline now. And you can see how a portal now opens in the center of the circle amidst the dragon's fire. A door. You can start to approach the door now, feeling the earth calling you, drawing you in, feeling your most sovereign self calling you, summoning you, and feeling the dragons doing the same. As you approach this portal, you intuitively know that when you enter, it will take you to a special pocket of the dragon realm that exists within our Earth's core. You realize now that the dragons have always been here. They have always been with the heart for Mother Earth. And you have now reached a point on your journey where you are able to visit this place and to reclaim a lost fragment of your soul, a part of you that was forgotten many millennia ago as a result of trauma, in order to keep you safe. But the dragons let you know now, with their loving, healing, supportive, and powerful presence, that you are safe, that you are whole, that you are connected, protected, and loved. That we are all in this together. And the time to reclaim this part of yourself is now. So on the count of 3, we will all enter this portal together, and we will journey to the center of Mother Earth, where we will end up in a pocket of the dragon realm. 1, 2, and 3. Stepping through the portal, you are now in the center of the earth, vibrating at the frequency of the dragon realm itself. And here, you will now be given a gift of alchemical dragon's fire that will clear your chakras one by one, that will clear any blockages on your ascension path, on your path to embodying your most sovereign, most multi-dimensional self. You feel yourself drawn to step forward. And as you do so, immediately you are engulfed by red dragon's fire. And you allow this red dragon's fire to flow throughout your veins, throughout your energy body, filling you with passion, filling you with fire, filling you with stability. And you feel how this red dragon's fire goes straight to your root chakra, and it burns away any impurities lying there. You can feel as these blockages simply melt away, as they are dissolved in the wake of this red dragon's fire. And you can inhale now, drawing in red dragon's fire through your pores, through your being, and exhaling any remaining blockages in your root chakra, letting them go, letting them flow back to Mother Earth for transmutation as you yourself get lighter and lighter, clearer and clearer, more and more whole in your own energy, more and more sovereign. Know that you are safe. And so, carrying that safety with you, you take another step forward. And now you are engulfed by orange Dragon's fire. You can allow it to wash over you in waves upon waves of healing, enlivening energy. You can feel its heat moving through you, activating your creativity, activating your light codes, clearing out any density in your system. As it moves down to your sacral chakra and congeals there, instantly burning away any impurities lying in your sacral chakra. And you can exhale, letting those go, letting them return to Mother Earth for transmutation as you get lighter and lighter, clearer and clearer, more and more whole in your own energy. Knowing that you are a creator. You are creativity. You are creative. And as you take in another inhale, you allow this in. You allow yourself to reclaim your divine creator self that's always been there. Exhaling, releasing any resistance to that, letting it go, letting it flow. Knowing that you are a creator. And as you carry this creative energy with you, you take yet another step forward and are now engulfed by yellow dragon's fire. You can feel how this dragon's fire has a lighter frequency. It instantly lifts your mood and your vibration, flowing throughout your energy body, easily and effortlessly, moving to any part of you that needs cheering up, any part of you that needs sunlight, that needs healing, that needs love. And you allow it. Inhaling, sinking into this frequency now, letting it in, letting it flow. Exhaling any resistance to that as the yellow dragon's fire congeals in your solar plexus chakra. And you feel how instantly it dissolves any blockages lying in wait. Dissolves self-loathing, dissolves the desire to give up. It dissolves doubts, dissolves fears. And as you inhale this yellow dragon's fire, you feel yourself growing more and more confidence. And you remember that you are enough, that you have always been enough. And so it is. You can exhale. Simply releasing any blockages to this enoughness now. Letting them flow back to Mother Earth for transmutation as you yourself get lighter and lighter, clearer and clearer. Knowing that you are confident. Carrying this confidence with you, you take another step forward. And you are now engulfed by green dragon's fire. You can allow this green dragon's fire to wash over you now in waves upon waves of loving energy. You can feel its gentleness, its healing qualities as it flows wherever you require love in your body right now. And as you inhale, you choose to allow this in. You choose to receive, knowing that you are worthy of receiving and that you've always been worthy of receiving. Remembering that you are love. And as you exhale, you release anything that is not this, letting it go, letting it flow back to Mother Earth for transmutation as you get lighter and lighter, clearer and clearer, more and more whole in your own energy. And the green dragon's fire now congeals in your heart chakra. And you feel it expanding and dissolving the hurt in your heart, the grief, the heartbreak, the fear. You feel it for a moment, acknowledging it. And then you exhale, releasing it to the green dragon's fire for transmutation. You allow it to dissolve. You let it go. Inhaling love straight into your heart space. Exhaling anything that is not that. Knowing that you are love. And carrying that love with you as you take yet another step forward. Now you are engulfed by blue dragon's fire. The blue dragon's fire feels cool this time. You feel this coolness washing over you. Waves upon waves of enlightening energy, connecting energy, refreshing energy, and you allow it to activate your light codes. Exhaling any resistance to this frequency now. And you allow it to congeal in your throat chakra, opening your throat chakra, dissolving any blockages hiding in your throat chakra, any pain, any tension. You exhale, releasing fear of setting boundaries, releasing the need to people please, releasing lack of communication, releasing miscommunication. You take in a nice deep inhale and you feel your throat chakra opening up and expanding, and you allow yourself to speak aloud if you feel called to do so, to make sounds, to make noise, to express yourself, to burp, to move the energy that is now coming up through you. And maybe for some, this takes the form of dragon's fire itself. You let it go. You let it flow. And you become clearer and clearer, exhaling resistance to this clarity, knowing that you are clarity. You are truth. And as you take your next step forward, you carry this clarity and this truth with you, deep within your soul. And now You are engulfed by indigo dragon's fire. You allow this indigo dragon's fire to wash over you in waves upon waves of healing, enlivening energy. And almost immediately, this energy congeals right in your third eye, and it opens that chakra. It dissolves blockages to your third eye opening. It dissolves pain, tension, anxiety, confusion. And you exhale, you let it go, you let it flow back to Mother Earth for transmutation as you get lighter and lighter, clearer and clearer, more and more psychic, more and more intuitive, choosing to reclaim the magic in your blood, the magic that has always been there. You reclaim it now. You allow the indigo dragon's fire to dissolve any remaining blockages to your third eye. Exhaling anything that gets kicked up, simply choosing to let that go. Choosing to be here, knowing that you are psychic and you carry your psychic abilities with you as we take yet another step forward. And you are now engulfed by violet dragon's fire. You allow this violet dragon's fire to wash over you yet again in waves upon waves of healing, enlivening energy, going exactly where it needs to go within your body, within your energy, to purge, to transmute any remaining resistance, any remaining blockages to your most sovereign self. It is dissolved instantly upon coming into contact with this violet dragon's fire. And you allow it with every inhale you take, making the conscious choice simply to receive, to be, knowing that you are worthy of this activation, you are worthy of this clearing and this cleansing. It is time. This is your time. And as you exhale, you release any part of you that doesn't feel enough. You release the ego. And you step into your multidimensional self, however that looks for you. You take in one final breath of this violet dragon's fire, and you allow it to clear your crown chakra and any blockages there. And instantly, as it does this, you feel your connection to source returning. You feel your crown chakra opening and allowing in that divine light that's always been there, that's always been around you, protecting you, emanating from you. And you remember who you really are. You remember that you are a divine creator being, and you remember exactly what it is that you are here to do and who you are here to be. And as you exhale, you let go of anything that is not that. Simply becoming. And you take another step forward now, carrying this sovereignty with you. You allow yourself now to go deeper into the center of the earth. And you realize that within the center of the earth, there is a pool of healing, enlivening, high frequency energy, of liquid dragon's fire. Notice what color it is. Notice how you feel as you approach it. And when you are ready, you can enter this pool and simply allow yourself to be immersed in this pool, in this liquid dragon's fire, receiving any activations, any downloads, any healings, any revelations that you are ready to receive. Just allowing it in. I'll let you experience this for a couple minutes in silence and in stillness before we proceed. You can place your hands on your heart space in the 3D, really allowing yourself to feel the gratitude for this experience, for your multidimensional self, for the dragons, and for each and every soul present here today. As you remain in this loving, holding space of dragon's fire that we've created together. And we now allow Zara to guide us home.
And floating in this undulating liquid fire of the dragon, you are being transformed, you're being transmuted. There's an evolution of consciousness and energetics taking place. From this space of almost voidal womb-like energy, you can reclaim or create from the infinite possibilities available. And so we invite you to move towards the center of this pool, where there is a rock that lifts up above the liquid with a very flat surface for you to lay upon. And so climb up onto this rock now and lay yourself upon your back as you face the ceiling of this great underground cavern. And above you is that portal. And as you look into the portal above you, there's a great dragon's eye looking down upon you, witnessing and observing, supporting and loving. And we invite you to begin to chant to yourself internally, chanting these words: I am divine, divine I am. I am divine, divine I am. I am divine, divine I am. And continue to chant these words within your own mind, within your own heart, as you gaze into this dragon's eye, who gazes back at you. And the proclamation of this statement, I am divine, divine I am, is the antidote, is the medicine for all of the limiting thoughts, all of the limiting beliefs that would have you question, who do you think you are to become so big, to become so powerful, to co-create your life? Who do you think you are to pass the boundaries of your ancestors, to pass the boundaries of your community, to reach further, to proclaim greater for yourself? Who do you think you are? And the answer, the antidote: I am divine, divine I am. I am divine, divine I am. I am divine, divine I am. Feel the empowerment that these words begin to activate within yourselves. For I am divine, no more divine than you, but divine I am. I am divine, no more divine than you, but divine I am. You are proclaiming your oneness with the divinity that is within you and around you. I am divine, divine I am. And if you wish to speak these words out loud with your own voice, with your own power, you will begin to create a resonance now through your field, through the energetics of your field. And your field will begin to rearrange. Your life will begin to rearrange to reflect this truth that you are proclaiming. I am divine, divine I am. I am divine, divine I am. And as you proclaim these words, begin to stand upon this altar within this pool of dragon fire. And as you do so, this golden eye shines down upon you, a great pillar of golden light. Breathe this golden light into the cells of your being. This golden light is the frequency of sovereignty, empowerment, unity. I am divine, divine I am. I am divine, divine I am. Allow the gold and allow the words to move into the marrow of your bones. I am divine, divine I am. I am divine, divine I am. And notice that you now hold a staff within your hand. A golden staff with a beautiful crystal on the very tip of this staff. I am divine, divine I am. I am divine, divine I am. I am divine, divine I am. And we invite you to take this staff now and draw a sacred circle around yourself 3 times. And as you draw this sacred circle around yourself, the light from the staff begins to emanate outwards, sealing your energy field, your auric field with your own soul signature, with the signature of your divinity, with the signature of your empowerment. You're building a stronger container now for your own spiritual essence to be held within and around your physical body. I am divine, divine I am. So that you may hold and keep all of the gifts that you have received here today, all of the transformations that you have received here today. Building a beautiful sphere of golden light around you. And when you are complete with this, the pillar of light shifts and changes now to a platinum energy. And we invite you to take your staff and draw a circle, a sphere around you 3 times with your staff. I am divine, divine I am. All the while repeating these words, infusing the golden sphere with the energy of platinum, the strength of platinum. I am divine, divine I am. To strengthen and fortify your container. This source frequency, this divinity that you are claiming so that you may walk through the world in a container of home frequency, in a container of your soul spiritual essence. I am divine, divine I am. Sealing any rips, tears, leakages, blocks in the auric field. Fortify this field for your greater, uninterrupted uninfluenced energy field. And as you build this greater sphere of light, you begin to levitate in this great, beautiful bubble that you have created. up through the portal above you, moving through the many layers of the earth. And you may look into the earth, maybe seeing the quartz, the amethyst, the veins of gold and silver, the crystals, the history within the stones, and allow yourself to absorb into your field any of the qualities of these crystals: citrine, amethyst, lapis, silver, gold, copper. Drawing in what would be most supportive for you to take with you. Drawing in the essence, the frequencies that would most greatly support you on your path. And as you emerge once again upon the surface of the earth, you emerge through a great white lotus flower whose petals hold you softly and gently. And this lotus flower carries you across the surface of this pool of water, bringing you gently to the shore. And we invite you to rest now and allow yourself to integrate all that you have received through this journey, all of the frequencies in the silence between the words, all of the empowerments, conscious and unconscious. Gare naharoye ano arahanare aki anoro hasharaho ranaware narakurete ya Shalo iraki hamahoeo alamo hashihana asolomo akianarwa. Shanarya narya nara re 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 Halo yo 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 ishe ye 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 Halo marya rya 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 Iki anare we Solen ye re 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 Solen de re 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 Hamoro ro 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 hishe re 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 na ro 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 inna re 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 Hamma re 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 yanna re 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 Angorum do 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 ishe ye 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 Ammo re 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 Ammo re 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 na ra 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 he ra na ra ra na ra ra Ashe na ra 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 ki na re 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 Hallo ro 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 ganga we Ambo ro 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 nga we Saluma saluma ra re 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 Saluma ra 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 e nangi ra re Da ro 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 re rangi aranda re And as you rest, as you integrate, begin to give gratitude, begin to give thanks, begin to give reverence for all of the blessings in your life. Mango ro 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 isha re 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 Naruko ro 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 ina re 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 Sarunurunurungiranda re 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 Mangure angawe andare ari re 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 Alla ro 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 ma we Sharum ha re 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 Kia do ro 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 Sarande re 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 Go yum do ro 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 And lift yourself from this position of laying down. Come to the edge of the water and just offer your gratitude, offer your thanks, offer your gifts to the waters, whether they be crystals, whether they be grains, whether they be tobaccos, whether they be starlight, whether they be love. Itarararara, isangi re 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 re, haro watare re ne andaro oso re re re. Ranare angara dea ue she she she. Whether they be your song, whether they be your voice, we invite you to use your voice now. We invite you to tone, to sound, to sing. Hirarara usororororo. Allowing your voice to be heard. Nakarerere ishagorororo. Halamarerere ikarorororo. Salokoyo mangwahea ushaya koyoyo. Haposaha tete anandialaka. Sautana kiatata ese utoshe nanerukuruku. We give thanks, we give thanks, we give thanks to the many beautiful dragons that have been named and unnamed, that have partaken in this beautiful ceremony, that have comforted us, that have protected us when we have been conscious or unconscious of their presence. We give thanks to all of our protectors, all of our guides, all of our family of light. We give thanks to live in a world where we can come together like this in freedom, in sovereignty, expressing ourselves in our own uniqueness, and knowing that we are not alone in our journey of exploration, of consciousness and possibility. We give thanks for the magic that resides within us and around us. We give thanks for the opportunity to breathe our breath. We give thanks for all of the joys, for all of the sorrows, for all of the transformations, for all of the wisdoms. We give thanks. We ask that all that we have received here today to be sealed by the divine, activated, unfolded in grace and ease. We ask that each one's guide continues to watch over, guide, and protect them on their journey, and to bring them illumination, along the way. And we say, Amen, Aho, Namaste, beloveds. I honor the light within you, that is also within me, that is inherent within all. Blessed be, blessed be, blessed be all beings.
I'm just going to pop in real quick and say, let's take 5 minutes, maybe a little less than 5 minutes, to sort of sit in silence and to write down some of your experiences, to drink some water, and to maybe go to the restroom if you need to. And so let's just take a 5-minute break to sort of take care of your own needs. And we're going to be quiet because this space is really important.
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for all your comments. We encourage you to keep them coming. We love hearing your experience, especially since we're not in a live class setting. So please keep them coming. It really is very helpful and supportive for us to know what you guys received about it. And to answer, we had a question out there about if we're having another reunion with the three of us, and if you came late, we talked about this in the beginning. This is a little experiment that Ashley and Hannah and I decided to come together and try out, and it was so much fun. And we are going to offer a 3-day intensive in early March 9, 10, and 11, I think. Or is it 8, 9, 10?
Yeah, 8, 9, 10.
8, 9, 10, and 11.
What is time?
Yeah, what is time? And so I'll just share the link with you guys again. This is my page for the link. So if you want to go there, you can read about it. It's going to be 3 days. Each one of us is taking a day. And Ashley is doing the Tiamat, the goddess Tiamat, and the dragons of death and transformation. Hannah is bringing forth goddess Kuan Yin and the dragons of love. And I am bringing forth goddess Lakshmi and then the dragons of wealth and creation. So it's going to be a really amazing time. And we welcome you. We welcome you to join us if you enjoyed this. So, yeah.
For the people that are asking about recordings, if you feel drawn to listen to this transmission again, it's on all of our YouTubes. So, and it will be sitting there. And so I definitely encourage you to go back and listen to parts. And the other thing is that if you can't make all of the days, it's okay. For the retreat the workshop intensive that we're doing together. What I was actually getting during this whole process is that the first day that I'm doing, we're going to kind of like take things apart. And then when Hannah has her day on the Saturday, then you get to kind of like look at the parts and sort of clean the parts. And then on the third day, you get to put the parts back together with Zara. And then the three of us will be together to answer questions and to kind of hold some integration space. So if you can't make all of those days, it's okay because there will be recordings. And I think it's only really important that you do all three. And it's okay if they're a little bit out of order as well. So, yeah. It's always better if you can be there live, but I get that timing is weird. So.
Yeah. Wow, thanks so much for that, guys. Like, that was powerful. I know I'm gonna sleep like a baby tonight. That was like really intense in like the best possible way. I can't say I've ever experienced anything quite like that before. So thank you guys for co-creating this with me, like both Zara and Ashley and everyone else that is here today, because we all co-created that together. It was a very beautiful experience, and I feel it was very needed right now. And I very much am looking forward to the 3-day intensive now. It's going to be great. I can already tell.
I think Nano next said something about Tiamat. My perspective of her is that she was actually demonized with the dragons and was made to be like a really awful creature when she wasn't. And so we'll get into all of that. So it's like a demonized part of the divine feminine and also the dragons. So I just like to repeat multiple times that dragons do not share the same DNA with reptilians. And so they're very, very different. But it's by design that reptilians look like dragons. Yeah.
Yeah. There's actually quite a lot of information on Tiamat, and she has a cult following. She's a very, very powerful goddess, like Kali, right? So Kali gives birth to the universe, and she also eats it and destroys it. It's that kind of a flavor. of a goddess. Yeah. Big
She's
stuff.
great.
Wow. So I'm a little woo-woo.
Coming back to earth, right? It was intense.
It really was. It was really good. So I felt I'll share from my experience what was going on. I was really connected to both Ashley and Hannah. I could see us in a trinity, and this is something actually that I was talking about last night in one of the classes. My channel, we each have different channels. Some people have multidimensional channels where they're really seeing things. I actually have more of an embodiment channel, and so my body just does things. And so what was happening for me was while they were doing their thing, I was behind the scenes over here holding, I wasn't doing this intentionally, it was just my body. I was holding the space of our group, and I was singing and chanting almost the entire time. So I just wanted to share that just to let you know what was going on while they were doing, as well as moving through the journey with these amazing girls here. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool to hear what was happening for you behind the scenes. It was really funny because when I stopped my transmission and we went to yours, like I started like doing chanting and singing stuff like the whole time, basically that you were talking. And also I think for both of them, I just felt called to like kind of breathe my own dragon's fire and do like the energy code light language stuff with my hands that I always do. So yeah, it was really fun to just kind of play with all three of us together like that.
It was a lot of fun.
Yep. I had a very similar experience, and I was kind of playing the drum sort of the whole time, and just sort of bringing in some other supportive energies. Part of my energy body in groups splits off and sort of goes around and checks on people too, and sort of might bring in other more grounding energies, because I found myself actually like drinking cacao for a while because I feel like somebody needed it. So inviting in some other sort of plant energies / sort of medicines to come in. So yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. Oh my gosh, I'm really excited for the intensive now. This is a great appetizer.
I'm trying to put it all on one piece, and I'm very quick with my trigger finger, my send finger. I'm always hanging up on people. So I wanted to put that together with, and I can't it, with the link. So it's on there. All right. So how's everybody? Do you want to do a little Q&A, or do we want to go right into readings? How are you guys feeling on your, we're talking to the audience now. What are you up for? You want to do a little Q&A? You want to roll into readings? I guess let's
give us a 1 for Q&A and a 2 for readings, just to keep it simple. 1 for Q&A, 2 for readings.
I don't know why this happens, but
that's so magical.
I don't, it's like I think it's like my camera or the Facebook or the FaceTime thing.
Okay.
But it's like
it looks like overwhelmingly people want us to do readings.
Great.
Yay!
I'm down for it. I'm here for it.
All right. So start throwing your questions up, guys. What do you want to know about yourself or about your life, or get insight in? I will say this. The dragons, the ascended masters, the goddesses, they don't really care about the little things in your life. They really are focused on your spiritual development, your evolution, your expansion. So they often bring in, if we have questions about our life, they'll actually often bring in how to change your perspective, how to change your perspectives, and how to look at things differently.
And the other thing is, I find that the frequency, I talk about this a lot in my courses, and I call it soul inquiry, but the way in which we ask the question. So like there's a difference, and don't worry about it. You can get your questions in here. However, I also want to say that sometimes what appears to be a small thing that like keeps repeating in our life is oftentimes a really big thing. So don't take what Zara just said as like a judgment of like that you have to ask these like really big questions. Because like, for me, the cleanliness of my house is very much related to some really deep trauma patterns. And so it just manifests. And it's not like my house isn't dirty, but it's just my perspective of it is that it's like filthy, but it's not. So anyways, the way in which we ask questions is really powerful. And what I mean by that is there's a really big difference between me saying, what the hell is going on? What the hell is wrong with me? And can you please show me what I need to see or know or feel right now, like in this moment? So that's just a really good practice, right? In our personal lives. All right. I guess, Zara, will you be in charge of
You can highlight,
Okay.
finding the question?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, here we go.
And I encourage you to everyone like to ask some questions that are more, I don't want to, there's nothing wrong with saying what are the next steps, but like
focus it a little bit more. Get a little bit more specific.
It's helpful for us, and I'm just going to say this for myself. I'm looking at your your questions, and they're broad. And I personally need more of a focus to focus in. Like I need it more specific to focus in energetically on what your question is. So I put your question up there, Stephanie. But if you could rewrite that in regards to what is the transformation that you're going through right now? What are you experiencing right now that you want specifics around? All right. So what do we see here?
Let's set this intention kind of collectively too. So Zara, when you're looking at them, this is what I sort of like to do is to find a question that is going to serve the people that are here right now. So it might not be the first person that asks the question, but if you sort of scan those and feel one that like that way we're responding it and it's going to serve like a lot of people that are listening. Yeah.
And like we said at the beginning too, just another reminder that everything that we're going to cover here, it's for you. Even if you aren't the one that asked it, even if you weren't aware that it's something you needed, everything happens for a reason. Everything is connected. So if we are answering someone else's question, there's something in that's for you too, even if it doesn't look exactly like it does for that other person. So I would encourage everyone to just trust their own intuition on what comes through for them and what you're receiving and what's coming to mind, like when you hear these questions and what we're saying afterwards.
Here's a good question that will be helpful for everybody, I imagine, because we all, not all of us, but self-support and wealth building is a big deal for us light workers because we're really focused on, inner peace and outer peace and experiencing peace and doing all the things for peace. And so we don't have a real strong, focus or often don't have real strong skill set in regards to highly functioning on the material world. And I know that Hannah is doing a wealth manifestation workshop right now. So maybe you want to tune into that one, Hannah? Does that feel
I can, drop that in the comments. So literally we're right in the middle of it. It's 2 weeks of free workshops. It's called the Quantum Abundance Accelerator, and it's designed to help you kind of get abundance in all areas of life, not necessarily just your finances. But yeah, if you want to be a part of that, you can sign up via this link. We're going to be doing another one tomorrow and another one on Friday. And then we have it next week as well. So that's something that could definitely help. And I do have something that's coming through for this person, if that's cool for me to share. Mm-hmm. So I feel like this is, again, it's multidimensionality, right? So duality reality wants us to think it's either this or this. And I think there's this program running in you that says, like, either you're moving forward with your self-support and wealth building, or you're getting rest, and that you can't do both simultaneously. So that, let's just set the intention. I feel like that's something that's just going to dissolve that for you right now. And you can set the intention, make the choice to dissolve that limiting belief that's in your system. And what I would recommend as like practical advice in the physical world is to take daily action towards your self-support and wealth building, however that may look for you. But this isn't like imbalanced, like masculine like action where you're just taking action for action's sake and you're doing a lot of it. It's like while you're resting, that could look like just 5 minutes a day of like maybe researching something, 5 minutes of a day of reading like a book. It's just something that your intuition guides you to do that day that's going to get you closer to wealth in your life. That's how you invite the feminine in. So it's like this inspired action where you're working with both the masculine by taking some sort of physical world action and the feminine by allowing space to just receive from the divine what wants to come through on exactly how that action is going to look for you each day. Because maybe one day it is going to involve you kind of like busting your ass for many hours, like putting in hard work and stuff. Another day, it might be you just reading a book or listening to an audiobook. It could take many different forms. So just check in with yourself each day and ask what is right for you that day, and trust that you will be making a progress as long as you're doing this. You're taking this time to check in with yourself and then taking physical action as a result of that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And ladies, I have a proposal for you guys. Are you able to hit the comments and click them up on the screen?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. All right. I was just curious.
Is it just when you click on the comments that they come up?
If I click on it, it comes right up.
Yeah, that's not happening for me.
Okay. Let me see if I can.
But you can go find that comment again. And because I think there's some other comments in there that are sort of related. So I'll talk a little bit about it. So I think that was Decky. I think that's who I'm talking to.
D. McKenney, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's
this one that you were just hearing?
Yeah. So one of the things that I'm getting, and this applies a little bit to Carol, just wrote something in the comments as well, and anybody else that's sort of working through financial transitions. I really love this question because this is really a period of time with the radical embodiment, particularly focusing in on the dragon energies that are available for us this year. Prosperity dragons, the emerald dragon lineages, they really want to give to you. And I've said this in other places before, but there is a direct connection with womb wealth. And for the men, this is like Hara health. Right. So womb and Hara wealth. And so this means that, like, think about for those of you that have maybe experienced traumas or boundary crossings, like in an inappropriate way, these parts of ourselves really need to be nurtured and loved. And rather than sort of being whipped to kind of like move forward and go faster and to do more, but I can like see you holding like this part of yourself to nurture it. And these like bigger patterns in our life, when we really release them and dissolve them, I think this is an important thing to comment on, is that it can be a little bit disorienting in our actual field. So I don't know if anybody's ever had like an entity removed off of them, particularly the deeper ancestral ones. When we remove that off of ourselves, sometimes there's this like short period of like a disorientation, like you can feel a dizziness because this really massive part of our, like not even of ourself, but a thing that was outside of us has been taken away from us. So sometimes when we're talking about early childhood traumas or really big ancestral patterns, when those things get removed from us, it can create shorter, maybe periods of disorientation. So keep that in mind when you're working on this, because that is actually something that is coming up with this question. So when we're thinking about wealth, health, like really going into how we ground and grounding through the womb and Hara space, and this includes the yoni and the lingam, and sort of getting in touch with our sort of sensual pleasures and these parts of ourselves, because that is a really direct connection to the way in which we manifest into this life through these physical bodies. So the more that we become embodied, the more that we are in our body, the easier it can be to kind of manifest. And I feel like when most people are talking about manifestation out there, like The Secret and all that stuff, it's way more than just like thinking something and then having something happen, even though thoughts are really important. But because we're working in the quantum field and with quantum energies, we have these deep-seated patterns that are in our subconscious that are always interfering with the pattern of, I need this to happen in my business, or I would like this, or this thing that I'm trying to create. And so it's really about finding out what this sort of like underlying frequency that is affecting what we are consciously trying to co-create. So for those of you that, particularly women, because women are oftentimes the receivers of the unprocessed emotions of men. And this is not to at all demonize men. It's really important that in this fragmented grid system that we're existing in, that we remember that men have been divorced from their emotions intentionally. And so women oftentimes pick these up. And at the same time, when we are having sexual intercourse, we are massively exchanging these energies like all the time. So working with the womb and hara energies and really thinking of like your lingam as what it translates to, but like a sword of light is really important. So I find that, and this is like with like men and women, right? But when women and women are together too, the same sort of things are happening. Whenever we have intimate relationships with human beings and the sexual energies are there, we're really, really opening up portals and sort of doing this like swapping of energies. So if you are in a relationship with someone, a lot of times when you're trying to co-create something together, in that togetherness, it's both of your energies. Like, so it's almost like not twice the work, but it's like both of you are trying to get something done. So both of the patterns that are creating like frequencies of incoherence and interference are there. So particularly for those of you that are in any sort of like coupledom togetherness, looking at that, because you are sharing a massive energy field together.
Awesome. Thank you. So I have one that I would like to play with here. And instead of showing or telling in regards to this one, what I'd like to do with you guys is just do a quick prayer and cleansing that I can take you all through. So anyone that is listening that has someone or it could be a person and or a situation that is weighing heavily on you, or you feel tied to, that you're trying to liberate yourself from. And this could be like, this could be anything. So it could be like a situation at work that was, there was a conflict and you're feeling the conflict still. You're still chewing on it, things that you're still chewing on. So this can be worked with a person or a situation that you're still feeling the energy to. You're still attached to the cords. So I'll take you through a little.
I just want to add something really quick. This is just coming through for me, is like, for me, what just came up is there's a person that's no longer in my life physically and hasn't been for like a year, but I feel, I guess, echoes of this person in current situations and current relationships with people that are getting very frustrating. So I just wanted to throw it out there too, that maybe it's who needs to be released is someone who is physically released from you right now, but you still think about them a lot. You feel like there's some sort of energetic connection and you can presence that.
Yeah. Awesome. So this is a prayer that I use in my Violet Alchemy sessions, and it was given to me by one of my teachers, Amaya. And I'm just going to change the wording a little bit because we're working with dragons. So we'll be working with dragons. So this is what to clear this stuff and this connection and fully release it, there's some things. So I'll invite you to repeat after me. We're still in this beautiful sacred space that we created from the beginning and through our ceremony. So you're being held and you're continuing to be held. So this is a repeat after me. With all of the love, light, and power of my soul, I now call back and integrate all of the energy I may have lost in a negative way in regards to name the person or situation, and take 3 deep breaths in. I call on the white cosmic flame. Saying these words out loud, I call on the white cosmic flame to blaze, purify, dissolve, and clear all cords between myself and name the person or situation. With the love, light, and power of my soul, I call upon the dragons of purification to clear all cords between us now. Take another long, slow, deep breath in. And repeating after me again, I call all of my energy back from any cord or experience with name the situation or person. I apologize to name the situation or person for any negative energies I may have projected consciously or unconsciously upon their being. And I now release all need or want of anything from their being into the light of God. I now release all need or want of anything from their being into the light of God. Take some long, slow, deep breaths. And on the exhale, imagine that you're lifting this energy, the needs and the wants. So there's a need or wants oftentimes for gratitude, for appreciation, for apologies, for them to be different, for them to choose different, for them to behave different. I now release all need or want of anything from their being into the light of God. So be it. All right. And so let's see here. Ashley and Hannah, are you guys looking at the comments? Is there anything that's pulsing you? How about this one? You guys have anything for this one?
Okay, good. Thank you for just picking something because I was like, oh, my eyes.
I know. I was like, oh, there's like a bunch that are calling to me right now. Which one to pick? I always get cut off when I
So just, I guess, so briefly, it's sometimes when we're in points of connection, sometimes our excitement sort of can cut off the connection. So I would say continue to keep connecting and getting used to the energies and knowing that it's always there and that nobody is going anywhere. You're not going to forget. You're not going to get lost. The beings aren't going to ditch you. The dragons will always be there. So sometimes, and this is another thing to remember about dragons. I feel that not all dragons, but my experience with dragons, and I've done this before, like I'll have some giant, like mother dragon just sitting there. And I remember this is a long time ago. She was like massive, and she had these like giant, like ancient sort of wisdom face with like these like really hoop earrings. And I was like sitting there, and I consider myself like a kinesthetic channel. It's how I know who I'm talking to. Like I pay attention to the visuals, but it's like they have to give me these kind of like light codes through my body. It's like this etheric sort of handshake, and there's like this introduction process. So I was sitting there going like this, like kind of waiting for her to talk. And then I realized, oh wait, dragons are speaking in vibration. Right. So I'm not, why am I waiting for like a talking? And so just allowing that energy to come through my body so that my body is actually translating the vibrations into language. And my main source of language right now is English. But it, you know, it could come in other languages. So that is some of it. So it's one, sometimes we have these connections and we can get really excited. So that can kind of throw us out. And sometimes we might not quite realize it, but we're actually putting a lot of pressure on receiving a quote unquote answer. So I always invite people every time. First of all, there is no such thing as an answer, but there is advice and there is guidance. And the more that you are on your journey and you begin to expand, what was one way of thinking or believing, because I also believe that belief systems are only temporary placeholders. So as you expand, that guidance will also be able to expand with you. So when we just release the pressure that this, like, you know, especially if we're asking, should I leave this relationship? Do I need to divorce my spouse or whatever it is? We're going to have a lot of attachment to that answer or that question. And sometimes we also have attachment to the guidance that is coming through, because we know deep down that if we get that response, like we can't unknow what we know. And so if you know something, sometimes that means that you're really going to have a lot of changes that are going to start happening in your life. So sometimes it's our own resistance that is kind of preventing us from really like getting it. And remember that you have divine will and you have courage. And so when you receive the guidance, you kind of get to decide how you're going to follow that. And you also don't have to follow it, right? But I mean, sometimes we don't have to follow it, but we're going to end up following it because like it's going that way anyways. And maybe we're not supposed to be with that person, or all of these things are going to like happen to make it happen. But I just encourage you to just keep connecting and just releasing pressure that you might be putting in on that communication.
And I guess what's coming through for me for this is, yeah, like, of course, everything you said. And I think this dragon wants them to know that the answers don't lie outside of you. The answers don't lie with this dragon or with anyone else. They lie within you. And this is maybe what this situation is trying to elicit from you, is that you have the answers already. You already know. That's what I feel like. You already know. And so I think this dragon wants you to maybe tune into your body and just feel what you already innately know to be true, because you do have the answer. And you might be claircognizant. So kind of going off of what Ashley was saying too, I had the same kind of experience with the dragons. Is I'm dominantly claircognizant. So I just know things like instantly, telepathically. It took me a long time to realize that was me being psychic, I guess, and receiving downloads and information and communicating with dragons, because I thought that I would like see these dragons in my mind's eye and like hear their voices. And sometimes I have those experiences, but more often than not, the dragons communicate with me via direct telepathy, which is claircognizance. It's just instant knowing. You just instantly know things. And so I think this dragon wants you to know that you have that as a very strong clair, and you are being called to trust what you just innately know to be true, because that is your connection to source. That is your connection to the dragons, and that's your own psychic ability.
That's an awesome topic of conversation, actually. And it's something that it was a really big deal for me, because, and that's probably why I jive with these two girls, because we all have a similar kind of feel. I think we're all like cognizant body kind of people. There are different kinds of channels, you guys. So there are people that And there are people that are psychics, right? They can look into your future. They can tell you what's going to happen next week. I'm not one of those. There are people that can sort of like open up doorways and they can see all the ascended masters and they can see all the dragons and they can see all the flowers and everything that's happening. I'm not one of them. I always wanted to be one of them. But because that's how we think of as a psychic, but understanding that it came through to me that's called like a multidimensional channel. There's also a healer channel, and the healer channel is the person that's actually embodying the frequency of the thing, right? So of the dragon, sort of, you're looking through the dragon's eyes, or you're feeling the dragon around you, or the goddess around you, or whatever, and your hands are moving. Like, this is what happens to me when I'm going to temples. I just start moving my hands around, and I don't have any conscious awareness of it, but there is an inherent knowingness in my being of what's happening while my hands are moving around or while my body's moving. So the question, right, is how to sort of not cut off that connection. But it's like, I would say that to not cut off the connection is more about like staying in this place of curiosity and discovering what other senses you might have that are picking up data that can be interpreted. Right? So it's not always visual, it's sensual also, or it is just like Hannah was talking about, a direct knowing. Yeah. I think that I am available for one more energetically. Is there anything in this list, you guys, that is calling to you?
I feel drawn to the one from D-Boy about sexual trauma.
Okay, good. That's the one I was doing too.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if I wanted. Here we go.
I find it really synchronistic because, I've had a lot of sexual trauma. And ironically, I also do have very strong sexual trauma that comes from my mother and that side of my family. And about like 3 or 4 years ago, shortly after meeting my twin flame, I transmuted a lot of that myself. I healed and integrated a lot of that myself. And now I find myself in another wave of doing that, like healing that. So I find this really relevant. And I would say there's like a bunch of different ways that you can tackle this. Trust your intuition on what you feel called to do. I would say for me, like, actually just doing masturbation was like a huge way to transmute this, because I like was very like asexual and not really interested in doing anything sexual whatsoever. And so just the simple act of doing that, but doing it in a very conscious way where I was calling upon my higher self and my twin flame to help me heal this sexual trauma while I was masturbating, that like healed so much. Like, I used to struggle from this thing called vaginismus, which is something that can happen after sexual trauma. I totally healed that in just a few weeks, calling on my higher self and my twin flame to kind of heal with me when I was doing like intentional, let's say, meditative masturbation. So that's really powerful. And I would also say you can call upon the dragons and Dragon's Fire like we did today. It's very transmutive, especially when you're working with generational trauma like this. It's like a lot. It might feel overwhelming for you to handle or to hold. You can call on the Dragon's Fire to kind of transmute that shit for you, like instantaneously, to transmute it to a higher frequency, and it will happen. And it's that simple. And finally, I would say creativity. So creativity and sexual energy, they're both like in our sacral chakra. They're kind of the same energy. When people have intercourse, they're like creating life. But you don't always have to create life, like creating another human, let's say. You can write a story, you can sing a song, you can bake something, and you're like creating, right? So I would say it's all about getting very intentional in transmuting this sexual trauma when you're creating something. So I, for example, am a creative writer. So it's like maybe I would write a story with the theme of like sexual trauma and exploring that. And I would find that when I finish the story, it's gone. Like, I don't feel it anymore. It's been transmuted through that creative energy of the story. So those are just some ideas from my side. And like I said, take what resonates.
I agree with everything that Hannah said. I have spent a lot of time with conscious masturbation and getting very, very, very clear. And in those spaces, I've always been guided not to use tools, but to use my own hands, because there are points, and I'm talking about a female body right now, but if you happen to have a lingam, there are still energy points on the lingam, but inside of the womb, it's the same. There are points in there, and you don't need to be a womb or yoni or lingam specialist to know this, but you can trust your own body. So calling in ancestors, and I wasn't even necessarily calling them in, but they were showing up. I also have a lot of deep sexual trauma that I've been working through, and it's really, really quite intense, like, to say, like, the least.
Amen. Yeah.
And yeah, so if you happen, so for those of you that have experienced like big sexual trauma, I do feel that there isn't, we're not comparing like traumas here, but there's a lot of times if it's early childhood trauma, it kind of manifests a little bit differently. So it can, like, a different approach can be beneficial versus if it's sort of like maybe an acute rape or something that happened when you were older. Because with the early childhood trauma stuff, it creates a different set of patterns that kind of go out. And so when you're working in that, you're working with a lot of different patterns that are touching each other. So yes, calling in the dragons, I get really, really specific about it. Like, I'm not trying to connect sexually with any energies, right? Because like this is how we reclaim body sovereignty, like just me and just my energies. And I always feel like the dragons show up and sort of like turn their backs, right? So like nobody's looking, nobody's watching, and it's not really about that, but that it's a really safe and protective space. And then a lot of the ancestors, a lot of these really powerful energies come in, and then you like find yourself actually going into your body, into doing a lot of shadow work. So this is actually a really powerful entry point for me to do really deep shadow work inside the womb space. And you can do the same with the lingam, right? Like remembering that the lingam, again, is a wand of light. And if your wand of light doesn't feel like a wand of light anymore because it's been abused, and if there's been any other entry points in your body that you didn't want to, like including like the mouth. The mouth is one of the few areas of our body that is actually holding masculine and feminine frequencies in that sort of portal and space. And so if it has ever been like abused in sort of a misconduct of sexual energy, that's an important area to kind of take care of. Also, finding a really safe body worker that you can go to that might need to be same gendered, and sometimes going to a different gender or maybe somebody that's gender neutral might be a good place to go for some people, or people that are definitely queer friendly and know how to hold the different kind of spaces for that, and don't have judgment, because your body is being touched. And so sometimes just having our body being touched can be very overwhelming, and it can be a lot. So going to somebody that's very trauma informed, because I find that having a witness in these spaces can be really helpful. Because not always pushing yourself to experience things that are challenging can sometimes be re-traumatizing, because trauma often happens when it's too much, too fast, too soon. So being really aware of that, and actually beginning to connect with your body, to ask what the body needs, like, and to know what its comfort level is, and just to be soft and expect that there's going to be layer. And if you happen to have access to somebody that is very conscious, having conscious sexual interactions, and having like creating a sacred sexual experience with someone else that is conscious and can help hold space for that, when you are ready for that, is hugely powerful, and re-experience particularly similar sexual positions that you may have experienced, like rape or trauma from, and re-experiencing those in a new, in a different, higher vibrational way, can actually go in there and help dissolve some of those patterns. But again, you have to be able to trust that person. They can be multi-dimensional connections, like in a human form, right? Because when we have relational trauma, we need a physical person there, whether it's a body worker or somebody that we're having sacred sexual relationships with, that can actually show up and witness us in these, because it's shame. It's just full on shame that is there. And this is when we want to dissociate. It's when we want to not be in our body and just get out, right? So it's having awareness of that and working really gently and sort of softly during that, which might absolutely start out like first with yourself, and then maybe just a licensed massage therapist that also does energy work. Maybe you can't, like that's all too much and you just want to get some sacral work, but just like a hand touching your body in a very gentle way. There's also people that work. I know this is more for women because this is just my experience. So I'm sorry, but they're like womb workers. They go in and they find points in your womb and they release these points, right? And so you're working with a sort of same gendered person. So there's a lot of different approaches that you can take, but it's really about finding and guidance with your body. And I also agree with, like, we are both the creators and the created ones. And I have found that when I was in grad school, because I have a master's in fine art, like I've never really felt like I had like much of a libido before. But when I was like in this really intense creating space all of the time, my libido was sort of like more activated during that time. So if you are wanting to be in a creative space, and to keep in mind that creating can be in writing, it can be in drawing, it can also be in gardening, and it can be in cooking. But creativity is also one of the fastest ways to get into alignment with source. But it's like, how do you want to create? It could be creating businesses. Like I have a lot of people in my life that love spreadsheets and they love helping you create with numbers, which is like really not my forte, but they get excited. So it's that thing that like lights you up. That's where your creative sort of frequency is. And so giving yourself permission to read, to write, to paint, and to not have to be a professional or to be really like good at it, because that's problematic. So yeah. Yeah, you can also, I like to call it, for those of you that like want to get a pen and like paint or something, I like to call it, because this like releases a lot of like pressure to make like this perfect image. But you can, call your beings and guides, call the dragons in, and just ask to maybe you've had this sexual trauma, you don't have language for it. Like, this is the beauty of like art therapy, is that you get to actually move beyond language and have these somatic experiences come through. And instead of putting the pressure that you have to make art, one, you don't have to show it to anybody. Two, you can call it intuitive mark making. So it's almost like you're creating a little oracle card for yourself that you don't have to worry about what it means. You just let the colors or whatever you feel guided to, and it could be totally sloppy and muddy. It doesn't really matter. And then you can look at it later and maybe try and wrap some language around it, or just let it be something that needs to be expressed through your body. In some of my coaching one-on-one sessions, I've had people that they had breast cancer and some other stuff. And so we did like breast imprints, like painting the breasts with paint and then kind of pressing them against paper, and doing this sort of whole body interaction with paper and paint, so that we can really let it be a full and complete expression that doesn't have to be like this magnificent artwork. Because there's a lot of people out there and artists that it's actually the process of their work that is the artwork itself, not so much what you end up with, but the actual process of it. I mean, and all this stuff is in like the MoMA and all kinds of things, because it's the process of the body interacting with the paint itself, and this sort of very visceral and tactile experience, not necessarily like, this is this beautiful like in landscape that I've created, I'm going to put it on the wall. While that's also beautiful, the healing of, self-portraiture, not selfies that you're going to put up on Instagram, but actually like when you feel sad and you can have this an intimate experience with yourself about using a timer and maybe photographing your body in these different ways or parts of your body that feel shame that you don't want anybody to see, and looking at them and experiencing your body and what your body has to say. And I'm a big believer, and this is what I studied a lot of in grad school, was the body as the homeland. Like, this is the homeland. So if you are separate from the country of your origin or the motherland, it can be really, really hard. And if you're like me and don't look like anybody in your family, then you have this whole diaspora hybrid thing that's going on in you. And so feeling your body and allowing it to express itself, whether it's through language or poetry, but freeing it from having to have language sometimes is really helpful. So you could, let your body express itself through something and then go into like, okay, now my mind would like to also have something to say, and then go into more of a poetic inquiry and story writing, like what Hannah was talking about. Okay, I'll stop talking because I won't, because this is a lot of, there's a lot to here.
Awesome. So we have to come to a close, you guys. I know my energy is getting really wonky. We've been on for about 3 hours now, but we all have stuff that is coming up for you, offerings that are coming up for you. And one of them that we are collaborating together is early in March. And I just want to give a couple minutes to each of us just to kind of share like what these offerings are that you can join in on. Some of them are very low cost. Some of them are free. So what I just put this link in here, this go zarastarchild.com, Dragon's Fire Alchemy. That link is for today's thing, what you just watched, what you just witnessed. But if you are watching this live and you didn't register through the link, we invite you to register through the link now, and then you will receive all of the links, all of the descriptions of what we're about to talk about for the other stuff that's happening in a few days. So go ahead and register for that link. That way you'll get on the news list. You'll get your email will be had by all three of us. You can always unsubscribe later if if you're not driving, but at least you'll get all of the information that of the stuff that's happening very soon, very, very soon. So yeah, absolutely take that opportunity to go ahead and register for that right now while it's on the screen. At least pull it up in your tab. And I'll just start. I'm going to do a quick run through because we promised that we'd be done by 5, but it looks like we're going over a little bit.
Ish.
We said ish.
Yeah. That's what we call the
ish in all my emails. Okay, so I can't even show you. So the first thing I want to tell you about is a Tablets of Grace series that I just completed in January and February. And since the completion of it, we took these Tablets of Grace and we activated them through the chakras. This was the second time that I took a group through this process. And since I've taken this group through the second time I've done this now, what's happening for me is these tablets are activating now in my chakras spontaneously. When my frequency is dipping, when I'm going into fear, when I'm going into anxiety about stuff that's happening around me in the material world, what's happening is instantly these tablets are turning on, and I'm remembering, because they're turning on, I'm remembering about grace, and I'm remembering to trust. And so this Saturday, we're having a little mini practice group where these tablets are going to be activated and turned on in a mini way, and we're going to be talking about how to use them in your life. And that is like a $25 little mini class. And then the big thing that's coming up is on the spring equinox. I hold an Awakening Your Light Body class once a year, and that is going to be starting spring equinox. So this class is it's going to go for a year, from spring equinox to spring equinox. And it's a support in awakening your light body and self-mastery of your physical body, mental body, emotional body, and your spiritual body, and an integration of those in your consciousness. It trains your brain how to interpret the non-physical data of your soul, your spirit, and brings you greater self-mastery of your divine gifts. So I'll leave it at there, and I will email you guys the details of that. If you're interested, you can look at it further. And I'll hand the baton to Hannah.
Cool. Thanks for sharing that, Zara. That sounds really, really awesome. I'm picking up what you're putting down here for sure. Yeah, so what I've got going on is, like we mentioned before, I am currently in the process of doing these free workshops. There's 8 of them, called the Quantum Abundance Accelerator. And it's really funny because just like what you say with your light body thing, that's what we kind of start to just dip our toe in with the Quantum Abundance Accelerator. So we focus on the 4 different realms, which are mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical. And so we've already done yesterday and Monday the mental and the emotional realms. And then tomorrow we're going to be doing spiritual. Friday we're going to be doing physical. And then next week we'll be kind of like integrating those in specific areas of life, like your finances, your love life, all that fun stuff. So it's a totally free offering. There's no excuse not to join. Yeah, so we just put it there. I'll drop it in the chat again. So you can sign up now, and there's also recordings available. So if you are just signing up now, you can totally watch the recordings that you missed, and you'll have access to these recordings for like the next few weeks. And basically all of this leads up to my big offering, which is called Dragon Wealth. And it is this program that teaches you how to generate wealth in all areas of your life. And we work with the wealth dragons to do that. And you'll meet your personal wealth dragon guide. And we learn how to start generating money, specifically doing what you're passionate about, doing what you genuinely feel like called to do, because so many light workers I see are kind of not doing what they really want to do, right? You're maybe doing it, but just part-time, or you're just doing it for free or whatever. And as someone who over the past few years has stepped full-time into doing this kind of work, I feel it's part of my mission to teach other people how to do the same thing. And so that's kind of what we focus on in Dragon Wealth. It's a deep dive over the course of like 6 months. We got a really cool community, and enrollment for that is actually open now, but it will be closing in a few weeks. So that's what I got on the agenda. And I will just say about the thing that the 3 of us are doing together, the 8th, the 9th, and the 10th of March, I believe. So for my day of that, where we're working with Kuan Yin and the Love Dragons, we're going to work on fostering self-love first and foremost. So if you struggle to love yourself, which I think we all do to some capacity, that is going to be the focus of that, and imbuing that like divine mother energy. And then from there, that allows you just by extension, by natural extension, to kind of magnetize love in your external reality as well, regardless of if it's romantic or like platonic or familial or whatever. But that's definitely the intention for this workshop that I'm hosting collectively with these lovely ladies. And I'm very much looking forward to it. So that's what I got for you guys.
All right. Woohoo! So many things to do and be. I have a light language activation and healing program, which is actually starting next week, and it's really awesome. You heard Zara's amazing light language tonight, and also mine. This is for both people that are practitioners and for people that want to use it for personal use. So even if you already have your light language activated, this is still a really great place to expand it. And if you're very new to it, it's still a place to have it activated. So even if it's already activated, you can always activate it more, just like we can always do more activations and embody more, because light language moves through our voices and in sound, like you heard tonight. It also moves through our hands, like you saw some of us doing tonight, moves through our bodies. It moves through our art practices and our writing. And the way in which that works is all different, and it's all sort of meeting our energy in our physical bodies and in like different ways. So I also get a lot of artists that come in and want to include light language in their work. We talk about translation and everything else. If you are somebody that sits with plant medicine, this can be a really beneficial program for you as well, because it definitely incorporates into your plant medicine and more psychedelic journeys. But it's very grounding and expansive, for lack of a better word. And it can really help in your relationships, and also incorporating light language in your sort of sacred sexual experiences, and in all of the kind of like womb and wound healing. And we'll also be connecting our wombs and hara energy into our throat chakras, because those are also completely related to each other. So there's a lot of benefits of being there. It's a 9-week container, very powerful. And I always say this about all of my courses. I do 3 a year. This is my favorite, but the next time I have another one, I'll probably also say that it's my favorite. I do know the dragons are going to be really present in this one, and we're going to have a day that's connected to really activating your dragon song, if that's what you want. And you can always choose something else. And then we're also going to be doing an 8-week plant devotional, so non-psychedelic plants that we can work with that are actually going to help you remember that the plants are here to help us convert light into life, and to help really embody these energies. So that's what I have that's going on. And of course, I'm really happy to be working with the 3 of you here, and to have the first day where we get to work with the death consciousness and really like get into these parts of ourselves, and to learn about the peace, and to remember about the peace and the beauty of what the death consciousness is offering us, and that it's not anything to be afraid of, but it's also really present and can be scary. So I don't deny that.
The death consciousness and the voidal frequencies are they have a traditionally they have a bad rap, but it's kind of like winter, right? So like death is like winter, where the old is closing down, moving away, so that new life, new birth can happen. And that's what it's all about, transformation. I had an amazing time with you guys all. The dragons had fun tonight. We had fun, and we look forward to coming together again in the weekend in March. And I'm going to be doing a little violet alchemy healing session in Miss Ashley's light language class, which I'm really excited about. Thank you for inviting me to that. It's so fun. So thanks everybody for listening. Thanks for joining us. It was wonderful to have you. We had over 100 people on this live stream at one point, which was beautiful. Yeah, great. And we're going to leave these, we're going to leave this up on our YouTube channel. So wherever you're watching it, it's going to stay there. You can come back to it whenever you want. And the links will be in the chat, which you should be able to access if you need to get on there. And I'm just going to put this one up again for you. go.zarastarchild.com/DragonsFire-Alchemy is the lead page for what you just witnessed. That will get you on our newsletter, and we will send you information about everything that we just shared with you. And you'll be sure to get the next offering that the 3 of us are doing together, March 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. All right. Goodbye, everyone. Wow.
Love.
Thank you.